particular, real good friends with, and I sent a code one time, and I said, believe me, I'm telling you the truth. And he said, I have no reason to doubt you, brother. I remember when you named Katrina before she was even a cloud and told us exactly what she was going to do.
Oh, it sounds like another document you need to forward to me. Hey, we have this question from the live chat, Lieutenant Colonel. What were some of the things that you've seen on these bases?
I seen a UFO weapon used one time. I'll never forget that. And it vaporized the tank from 3 miles in distance.
Was it a ray that you could see?
No, you couldn't see it. You know what it looked like? It looked like a laser beam. You know what a tracer bullet looks like?
Yeah.
Picture that as a laser, about big around as a quarter, stretching 3 miles, and it was like a blurry heat wave trapped inside of a glass tube 3 miles long. And it was a 1 second, maybe 2 second burst of this, and this tank just went to smoke. And the only thing that there was left was a couple of pieces of track. I never seen anything like it. I mean, that was another thing. See, these things, they blow your mind. I mean, when a man sees something that he actually has to question himself on, that's pretty perplexed. I mean, you got to hit yourself in the head, pinch yourself, and everything else. Believe me, I'm a man like anybody else. I'm fallible, but I know what I saw. And when you're trying to talk yourself into saying I didn't see it, that's got to be a pretty bad event, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And okay, what else have you seen there, Lieutenant?
I've seen numerous UFO. Matter of fact, we have a lot of UFO activity here. And ever since I've been getting prior to this, whether they knew that I was going to do this in the spirit demonically or whatever, I've had the roughest 8 months of my life. I'm almost destitute with finances and stuff, where I've been brought down, and I had a thriving welding company, and I stood there outnumbered and watched through the window of my house as my friends, so-called friends, came in and stole all my equipment and put me out of business. And the police won't do nothing about it.
We have this question from the Fast Blast. Do you have any inside information on what the space shuttle is doing other than regular media reports?
Yes. Let's see how to say this here. I'm just going to have to there's another way to say this. We have laser weapons up there, and we are letting, instead of using rockets to send up nuclear weapons to orbit the space, they take them up in the space shuttle and let them loose. And so, think about all these satellites that crash to the Earth eventually, and we have nuclear weapons up there. I mean, there's probably thousands of them just circling around and around. And there's been a lot of UFOs seen up there by them guys. Now, they do fly in space, but they come from the water. But to deceive somebody, now, there are a lot of people, and I've seen them with my own eyes come in and out of the water. And it's weird, the water splits before they get to it. Almost like parts.
You were on a ship when that happened?
No, I was on a, one time I was on land and seen it. Well, I've seen several times it was on land. One time I was on a ship, which I won't name. And, man, I mean, we were all just nuts. I can tell you for 2 days nobody spoke. That was the quietest I ever seen it.
Mm-hmm. Was it one of these motherships, or was it a small cruiser?
I don't know what people mean by a mothership.
Well, I'm calling the 1 mile long UFOs. I'm calling those the motherships.
Well, I mean, they can split up into little pieces, and that's not a mothership. That's just a big ship. They're coming at, in other words, they let this thing, I mean, this was a planned operation. You got to understand, you don't think the government didn't know this was going to happen. And now take a look at the newscasts that you've seen and the films that are on the internet. They play it off to be a big joke, do they not? They laugh about it, you know,
right.
UFO, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to make fun of it so that they're easing you into it. And so why use something tiny bitty when everybody can say, well, that was just a pop can flying through the air or a delusion? To make sure that people don't think it was delusion, you got to go for the big one. Yeah. Let them see it, test the water. Well, you know, the people reacted pretty good, I would say, to it. They would act like they react. If I was the government wanting to, you know, ease somebody into it, and I showed them something like that, and nobody retaliated, nobody shot at it, nobody panicked, that lets me know that people are pretty well groomed to just go ahead and let's tell them, and they're fixing to let you tell. This year, it's going to be a common thing. You're going to see them flying around like planes. And to be honest with you, at nighttime, I was told that, and I've seen that they can blend in, look just like aircraft. Mm. Have you ever noticed at night, you ever watch a bunch of traffic in the sky, but yet you don't hear nothing? You just see all these lights.
Yeah, because they're so high up, you wouldn't.
That is. I mean, when a jet goes over, I don't care if it's 60,000 feet, you can hear eventually.
Yeah.
I sit out here night after night. I live on top of a mountain where I can see 5 counties. I have a beautiful place. And, me and my wife sit out here, and there's a black ops base about 8 miles from us, and we watch UFOs come in and out of there all the time. They just come in and out just like a regular airport, man.
You know, I was thinking about this this sighting in Stephenville, and even back to the Phoenix Lights, that mile-wide UFO. Of course, after a couple of years, the military said, "Oh yeah, we forgot. We did have flares in the area." Those
weren't flares.
And right, and of course they said
you can't orchestrate flares in perfect harmony.
Right. Of course, you know that excuse is getting pretty old, and of course they tried rolling that out here on this one, but then they figured that wouldn't work, so they said, well, I think people, you know, the military said, well, people were seeing a reflection of a jumbo jet. You know, okay, well, that's a new one. You know, I thought, what happened to the weather balloon and the flare? That was working for 50 years. But it just seems to me somebody ought to call them on this flare business and say, okay, well, you're dropping flares. Well, let me talk to the guys that went out there to pick up the parachutes and these flares.
Well, your simple answer is going to be it's crypto top secret, and it's detrimental to the security of the United States, and believe me, don't worry about it while they pat you on the back, brother. We've got it all under control, and these are secret weapons to use against our enemy, the terrorists. Why do you think they don't attack us?
Well, I'm just thinking somebody ought to find a parachute in their backyard.
Till they're ready to let it out. You will not. When they're ready to let it out, you'll get it.
Yeah. Well, they're going.
Other than that, I wouldn't even pry on them because they're just going to lie to you, and
they're going to get.
All you're getting is one lie that makes sense, possibly, and then when it doesn't make sense anymore, it gives them plenty enough time to come up with another one that makes sense, and pretty soon you've seen so many lies you don't know what to believe. So what is the truth?
Mm-hmm. All right, we've got numbers of other questions here. Have you ever seen any aliens fight against other aliens?
I've seen, one time I've seen 2 ships fire at each other, and one was hit that didn't bring it down, but it looked like, when it got hit, it looked like you could see these like lightning bolts going round and round and round it. Mm-hmm. You know, and it wobbled it a little bit, but it didn't do nothing to it, and I believe that was just for show because I wasn't the only one. There was a large audience. There were several hundred people that seen it.
What do you think? What do you think that there's this breeding thing going on between humans and these? Well, I guess you call them demons.